God, this is fantastic. This is just really, really good. Hey there. Welcome to, you know what? I'm not going to say the name of the channel because I just might change it sometime in the near future. These two are going to make my top 10 forever. Gucci Guilty Absolute and Mugler's Over the Musk. So I'm going to start with Gucci Guilty Absolute, which to me was a love at first sniff. I've been wearing perfume since I was in second grade. I'm not kidding. And I was really too young. And some teachers, in fact, just one teacher told me that I was wearing something that was far too adult for a boy of, I guess I was 8 years old or maybe 7. But my parents didn't mind because I suppose it amused them. It's not normal. When a fragrance gets released into the market that really is special, that really is doing something different, my antennae go up. Not that I have antennae, I don't even have hair. Anyway, so when I was doing my research prior to blind buying Gucci Guilty Absolute, so of course I went to Fragrantica to check out the reviews, and over there, at the time anyway, it was getting lambasted, and people were saying that it smells like bug spray, that it smells like petroleum, that it's atrocious, blah 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 blah. On the other hand, a number of YouTubers, content creators, were saying that it's really good for a designer. Gucci Guilty Absolute isn't exactly spectacularly expensive. It costs us as much as the other designer scents do. Blind bought a bottle, and when I finally smelled it, you know what? The people who were lambasting it were right. Indeed, it smells like bug spray. Indeed, it smells like petroleum. You know, what do we exactly ask noses, perfumers, perfume creators? What exactly are we asking of them? We're asking them to expand our notion of what is beautiful as far as the scent of smell is concerned. That's what makes it an art. And nothing can be art unless it expands what is possible to be in art. And so when somebody uses scents that are traditionally, conventionally considered distasteful, when somebody uses those scents, those notes, and creates something that is perfume, something that is beautiful to smell, something that introduces a new thing to the mind, when somebody does that, I can't help but just really be made happy. I think it's still helpful to do these videos even though Gucci Guilty Absolute is discontinued. As far as backup bottles are concerned, that's in fact the reason why I felt like I kind of like panicked, because I love the scent so much, and when I found out that it had been discontinued, then of course I had to seek out new bottles because I don't want to be without this fragrance for the long haul. I will go to the note breakdown and I will describe the scent later, even though it might be redundant because so many people have done that before. But I'll do my take on it too. But anyway, I was saying, there are other fragrances that Gucci Guilty Absolute is compared with. One of them is Dark Lord by Kilian. Now, I never felt... A friend told me that I should check out Dark Lord by Kilian. And because I know that it's by Kilian, I knew that it was going to be many times more expensive than Gucci Guilty Absolute. Of course, I understand that if I hadn't gotten the backup bottles, then it wouldn't have been difficult to get. But at the same time, one thing that I've come to love about Gucci Guilty Absolute is that the performance is just right for the tropical climate in which I live. Because Gucci Guilty Absolute, it wears very lightly. It's a strong fragrance, but it's not a beast at all. And that's exactly what I want for something that has leather and cypress. If leather and cypress were kind of like thick, I don't think I'd be able to wear this any time of the year. It wouldn't be as versatile. Can you wear a heavy leather fragrance in summer? I have yet to get that fragrance by Orto Parisi. I think I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Coium. I'm thinking of getting that soon, but I haven't tested it. I imagine that it might be the thickest leather I could get my hands on these days. But anyway, Gucci Guilty Absolute is wearable in summer. It's wearable in a warm, really hot country, And so, and also the other thing is that I'm not such a great fan of the way the House of Killian names their perfume. I don't like what they're called. And I used to be, no, I'm not, I don't know if I'm still a poet or not. The Nobel Prize winning and Pulitzer Prize winning late poet Louise Glück said that you're really only a poet while you're writing poems. So, and the rest of the time, you're just another human being. And so I guess I could say, in that sense, I'm not a poet, even though I have a book. Anyway, even though I went to school for it. Anyway, what a digression. What was I saying? I can't ever be indifferent to language, and when a perfume house is using language in a way that doesn't really appeal to me, and that's part of their marketing. Because no doubt, I could say that I have a problem with the way By Kilian names their fragrances, but it's perfectly clear by now that it must be speaking to other people. Like, they love why something is called whatever it's called. As far as language is concerned, there are two houses that I really love. The naming style of one is Amouage, because they do it simply. They do it simply and ambiguously. They create mystery, and also they create interest, while also creating some kind of like fuzzy border around a concept. I love that style. The other one is Etalib d'Orange. There's a sense of humor to the way Etalib d'Orange. They manage to use language to play with the scent itself and how you approach the scent. It's one of the ways they can get it to be conceptual, or to kind of tune the nature of your attention to the fragrance in order for you to also think about the concept that they're pursuing. I think that Frederick Malle, Edition Parfum, I think that Frederick Malle tries to do the same, but they do so with more recourse to allusion. Allusion. They allude to things, such as in music for a while. So, but it's never been really that consistent. French Lover really is called by a completely different name, and thus designating an entirely different concept in the French version makes me kind of wonder what they're doing with language. Anyway, back to Gucci Guilty Absolute. Gucci Guilty Absolute was, for some strange reason that I have no interest in knowing more about. Some were made in Spain and some were made in the UK. I've never bothered really to compare. The one I've been wearing is made in Spain, and these two backup bottles, they're just testers. This one is made in the UK, and same with this other tester. I think it's about time for me to find out if there's any difference. I know that this is made in Spain, but since it's been open for more than a year by now, I haven't used it much, considering. So this is the UK. UK is this, and this is the one made in Spain. Clear sticker, Spain. These are both new bottles, and I'm surprised that there is in fact a difference. The difference is that the one made in UK is slightly more floral. Not that Gucci Guilty Absolute is floral at all, but this has a floral facet. The nature of skin on different parts of the body could vary, so I'm gonna do the made in UK on this side and this one on this side. Letting it dry. As it dries, what are the notes for Gucci Guilty Absolute? For the top, there's leather. Mid is cypress and patchouli. And for the bass notes, there's woody notes and vetiver. Honestly, all this time, it never registered to me that Gucci Guilty Absolute has vetiver. So, but vetiver has many different aspects, and in this sense, it's not the grassy kind. Maybe it was used as a fixative. That's my theory, because it doesn't. I just am not getting the kind of vetiver that I'm accustomed to getting from scents which are predominantly vetiver. So one could say that they're emphasizing the woody aspects of vetiver. It's really the leather, and this leather is somewhere between the leather that is used in Tom Ford and the traditional kind of leather that is in, say, Xerjoff and the old school leathers, which are in fact it's a fantasy accord. Not that it smells very much like leather, but they just it became leather by convention. It's a sort of leather that could remind some other people of what a purse might smell like. Leather that you get in things by from Guerlain and Jean Patou, that sort of thing. Basically, pre-quinoline. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's because the leather that is used in Tom Ford is I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Quinoline, 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 probably quinoline or quinoline. I'm not sure. I read a tiny bit on quinoline, and it's been around for more than for more than half a century, but it doesn't seem like it's ever been given a kind of featured role or a lead role until the Tom Ford leathers came along. All right, I'm smelling them again. So the made in UK GGA is here and here, Spain here and here. I prefer the Spain. The Spain is grittier. It's more masculine. If you want it just slightly tuned, slightly softer, get the UK. The UK is, in some ways, it's kind of like more refined. But in this case, because part of the allure of Gucci Guilty Absolute is that it's kind of like rugged yet classy. I don't want to use that word classy. It's rugged but distinctive. That's one of the things that attracts me to Gucci Guilty Absolute. If you want something that's less rugged, can I even call the UK rugged? Let me just put it this way. The UK version doesn't have as much teeth. Do I still like it? That's a good question. I wouldn't describe the difference as infinitesimal. It is because it is perceivable. But if I had known that there was that slight difference, I would have been more particular about where the bottle was made, because I really do prefer the one that was made in Spain. Yes, because the UK is really less punchy. In some ways, it's almost like the demeanor of those nationalities. You know how the British could be polite and very well boundaried, whereas the Spaniards can be often are more passionate and forceful, more dramatic. I prefer the Spain version because it's the Gucci Guilty Absolute that I've come to know. If Gucci Guilty Absolute seems to have been too much for you before, then I would encourage you to find a bottle of the one that's made in UK. Made in UK version has aspects that remind me of Roja perfumery, like the dry down of Pierre de Villiers, which I love. Pierre de Villiers 25. Yeah, it has that smoothness. If you've been smelling fragrances for a very long time, I don't think that you can miss how beautiful and different Gucci Guilty Absolute is. There are two other scents that Gucci Guilty Absolute is supposed to resemble. One is, excuse me, some people have compared it to No Limits by Philip Klein. I've never tested that, but somebody in YouTube whose taste I agree with loves it, and so maybe in the future I am going to get it. And then another content creator who at this time has the most knowledgeable content there is in YouTube said that it smells like Amouage Opus 11. The name of the YouTube creator is Ramsey. If you are interested in vintage fragrances, there is nobody in YouTube who is more generous with his time and knowledge than Ramsey. So really, I encourage you to check his channel out. He doesn't structure his videos the way most others do, the way I do. He's the only one who seems to be doing it that way. It's like a chant. He does have titles, and the videos are incredibly long. And I don't know if there have ever been chapters in the video, so sometimes it's difficult to locate. But if you're into vintage fragrances and if you want to learn more, subscribe to Ramsey. Not that he's my friend or anything like that, but you have to hand it to somebody who's being generous. Yes, I have to say it again. The made in UK and the made in Spain are different. Not bad. I mean, it's not like, oh, I don't want the made in UK at all. I think what I'll do is I'll wear the made in UK in summer, and I'll wear the made in Spain in cooler temperatures. But God, this is fantastic. This is just really, really good. Is there anything else that I should tell you about Gucci Guilty Absolute? It has the strength of a beast without being a beast. And it projects, I'd say, for the performance is really average. And in this case, that average performance works for it. Longevity is good, probably something like 7 hours, something like that. I mean, like at the 7th hour, you'll still be able to smell traces of it. The projection's good for maybe, just like most other fragrances by designers, probably just an hour. In all likelihood, this probably projects for a longer time than I think it does. So, Gucci Guilty Absolute, it's discontinued. If you don't like it, I really have no problem with you not liking it. I think it's a great scent that very few people will wear because everybody's wearing Bleu de Chanel and Sauvage and Versace Eros, and there was a time when that kind of like bothered me, and then I realized that actually works for me.